This morning we conclude our Year of the Horse review series on Neil Young and Crazy Horse's Year of the Horse project with the concert film. In 1996 and 97, Neil Young and Crazy Horse embarked on the Broken Arrow tour. And director Jim Jarmusch kind of went on tour with them and was hired to shoot a concert film. Interlaced with the live footage are interviews with the band, and most interestingly enough, Neil Young's late father, Scott Young, who was somewhat of a celebrity in his own right. He was a sportscaster in Canada, and he wrote for local Canadian papers, and he also was quite a prolific author. But that's beside the point. Anyway, interlaced with the concert footage are interviews with Crazy Horse, including Neil and Scott, that kind of tell Crazy Horse's story, starting all the way back in 1968 and going to 1996. And they touch on the deaths of Danny Whitten, their first guitarist, and Briggs, which we touched on yesterday. And as far as the concert footage goes, many of the songs that were or that are on the CD are represented in video form. Among them, Barstool Blues, which I was very excited about because I hadn't ever seen a performance of Barstool Blues up to that point. And Danger Bird and Big Time and Slip Away, which are two of my favorites from Broken Arrow. And some of the songs that were not included on the CD, but are included in the DVD. They open with either Effin' Up or Hey Hey My, I think it's Effin' Up they open with. And that is included with the DVD, that is included in the concert film. And also interlaced with the concert footage are, it's basically a road movie, kind of not unlike Neil's 1987 road movie Muddy Track, which we will be covering in a later review. And you get to see, Neil and Crazy Horse on the road, and they one of my particularly favorite scenes of behind the scenes footage is it kind of makes me laugh every time I watch it. Um, it's when Neil calls Pancho, because Pancho, ever since the ever since the Life and Landing on Water tours in '86 and '87, Pancho came away from that as somewhat of a as somewhat of a computer expert, and because he had to deal with a lot of synthesizer technology on both the Landing on Water and Life tours. And one of my favorite scenes in Year of the Horse is Neil calls Pancho because Neil has somehow locked his computer up, and Pancho has to go down and figuring out what's going on with it. And it also kind of amuses me because technology is so kind of far beyond what it was in 1996. And so anyway, so Pancho has to go um, and unlock it, so to speak. And there is a there is a there is a little piece of a scene from the Money Track movie, of kind of a dispute between Neil and the boys over a harmony part on Cortez, and Billy and Neil get into basically a screaming match over it. And from the movie Money Track, and when I first saw Money Track, I was very excited to find out that was what was where that scene came from. Because when I first saw Year of the Horse, I didn't know where that scene came from, and actually Jim Jarmusch puts a caption on it to an identifying caption on it to he puts the year it was filmed, and he puts kind of an identifying caption on it to kind of help with continuity. And one of the other songs that was included in the concert film, but not on the CD, which I was hoping that it was going to be on the CD, but it wasn't. Was another one of my favorites from Zuma, called Stupid Girl. And that was really the first time I had ever seen Stupid Girl done live. But actually, I think that was the first time that they had done Stupid Girl live, so I'm glad that I know of. So I'm glad that they filmed it. And over the credits of Year of the Horse, Neil does another song from Broken Arrow called Music Arcade, which is an acoustic number. Some of the some of the footage was shot by, I think, shot by Neil's son Zeke, and I think Larry Johnson shot some footage for it. Now, when you, I must, you know, to the casual Neil fan, I must warn you that the some of the live footage is shot to look grainy, and so the reason is that Neil likes to shoot in what's known as Super 8, which kind of gives which kind of gives the film a grainy look to it, and I really like that, you know, because it makes it look older, or it makes it look old and used, which if you know anything about Neil, he likes old stuff. So as a bonus, feature, there are a couple interviews. The first one is with Neil and Jim Jarmusch, basically talking about the movie, and the second one is with Crazy Horse, you know, basically talking about the movie. Now a couple years ago, I was gonna make this next part a separate review, but I decided to go ahead and include it because it kind of deals with that same time period. A couple years ago, years ago, I obtained an audio book, kind of not too dissimilar from the Neil Young story record set that we reviewed a couple weeks ago. I obtained kind of a audio book called Neil Young, or Maximum Neil Young, which kind of basically tells his story. There's a production company called Chrome Dreams, and they're out of England, and they use in this audio book, as part of the story, they use parts of both the Neil interview and the Crazy Horse interview from Year of the Horse, and it's a really good representation of Neil's life. So if you get a chance to get your hands on it, check it out, because you'll really enjoy it. And I remember I remember being super excited when Year of the Horse finally came out on DVD, because I was I was just looking at the music shop, and I found it, and I was like super excited because I had always wanted to see it, and I was, super excited to finally get my hands on it. Now, before we end here, I want to tell you kind of an amusing story. When I was in the hospital years ago, back around the time Year of the Horse came out, I was having surgery for something, I can't remember what, and my as kind of a gift, my parents gave me the Year of the Horse CD, while I was in the hospital, and I was listening to it, and I do not advise this, but I was a silly kid back then, and it was after I had surgery, but I decided to try and sing the record, and like an idiot, I neglected to remember that I had just had a tube down my throat, and so basically, I couldn't sing. So if you ever have surgery, do not try and sing right after, because it won't work. Nothing will come out. That concludes the Year of the Horse series. And I hope you enjoy it. And I give Year of the Horse, the concept film, about 1,000 stars.